Hello, everyone. Hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving week. I did. Uh, hope you all had a nice Thanksgiving dinner, all that. And speaking of food, here's a review of The Menu. Yes, chef. Okay, let's go. Um, The Menu is a movie that came out recently that I saw with some friends, like first weekend, weekend before Thanksgiving. That clapping hurt my hands. Whatever. Um, Very good movie. If you have not seen The Menu, it's about a group of people who go to a fine dining cuisine experience on an island where Ralph Fiennes plays a chef and he makes them food, and that's as much as I can say without giving a spoiler. It's a sort of a dark thriller comedy. Um, I'll say this because the trailer shows it. The restaurant, the experience takes a dark turn. Now, what exactly that turn is, you may think you can predict from watching a trailer, but the movie, like, credit to the marketing that it kind of leads you into different directions to where the plot actually goes. I watched like I didn't watch a full trailer. I watched like a 30-second teaser that came up on as an ad on my YouTube video I was watching because my phone heard that I was planning to see The Menu. Um, and it gave one impression that was much less interesting than what the movie ended up being. This is a really, really good thriller. This is a really great thriller. Probably my second favorite movie of the year. Um, Ralph Fiennes as the chef is an absolutely incredible performance. He's going to go. That performance for me is going down in the history of like great villains. Again, minor spoiler that he's a villain, but you could kind of guess. But again, this is a movie that's best going in. Even what I've told you now, what I've told you right now is already about as much as you want to know going in. So I'll give a quick spoiler free taste of why I think this movie is so good. It doesn't do what you expect. The premise is, if not wholly original, then it at least has a lot of original elements and new takes on familiar really also a really well executed takes on these concepts. uh and also the movie is directed by and produced by a lot of the minds behind the HBO Max show Succession, which I've talked about at length on the Fear podcast with Kirk Zanetti. um I love Succession, and this movie very much has its like comic style ingrained, Succession sort of comic style ingrained into it, which is to say that it's a movie that understands how tension can be used for comedy and horror at the same or and horror thriller whatever at the same time. Like, a lot of movies today use comedy to like remove some of the tension. When the best like horror, especially mashing up the genres of horror and comedy, the best way to do that is to understand that tension can add to the comedy. Uh, tension creates suspense, but that tension can also be used to create humor. Like, there can be humor in suspense, and this movie does that very, very well. It doesn't. Its comedy elements do not detract from the thriller, the tense, suspenseful story that the movie has. Uh, it's the kind of movie that makes you laugh, but also makes it feel uncomfortable to laugh, which is awesome. That's a great. It's a hard thing to pull off, but is very, very cool when you can pull it off. Um, and it's also a movie that kind of it understands the value of like spectacle. It understands how to like critique the spectacle of a thriller or like an extravagant. It understands how to criticize that stuff, but also like kind of indulge. Like it's sort of meta narratively criticizing itself by giving you this spectacle of the menu. And if you've seen the movie, you'll understand a little bit deeper what I mean by this. It's presenting up this spectacle that is the menu prepared by the chef. And while it is critiquing this spectacle and critiquing our elaborate desires for extravagance, and while this movie definitely has some not at all subtle messages about class, but while it is sort of critiquing that extravagance, that opulence, that spectacle, it also indulges in it, and it wants you, the audience, to indulge in it, and not in a way that cheapens what the movie is trying to say at all. Food analogy, it has its cake and eats it too. It's such a good movie. Just go see it. There's no if, ors, buts. This isn't like the last thing I reviewed, Tar, where I was like, okay, well, it might be a little slow, it might not be your thing. The menu is, unless you just really don't like movies with tension, the menu is, it's so good. The way that and I'm going to get into small spoilers here and eventually move to bigger ones, the way that they have the menu items like appear on screen with the recipes as they get like increasingly more psychotic and less like actual food menu items. It's like everything in the movie is a part of the chef's meticulously crafted piece, and you like one half of your mind is admiring the spectacle of an art form that he has put together, and like admiring the art form of it, and the other part is horrified. You're equal parts terrified and enamored by the chef's commitment to this mission that he's on, which is, spoiler alert, to present a menu, which is, spoiler alert, to present a series of events, a sort of performance art / dinner thing that ends with everyone involved dying. And it's a slow, methodical, like, process, and then the process is messed up by the insertion of Anya Taylor-Joy's character, who's an unexpected item on the menu. The guests are also on the menu. I like though that there's no cannibalism. You think the whole time is like, is this going to turn into a they eat each other kind of thing? But the chef is more refined than that. He doesn't need to stoop to the lows of cannibalism to psychologically torture and then kill these people. He can do it all under his presentation. Oh my! And the characters are all like so distinct. It's got a very like, it's doing the like mystery movie colorful cast of characters thing, kind of like Knives Out or something like that, but putting them in this like tense situation where they very quickly lose control of the situation. Arguably, they never really had it. But it's like very, very quickly the chef takes over control. And that performance as the chef, as I said earlier in the review, in my mind goes down as one of the great like serial killer master villains in film. He's so like, he has such an interesting mix of emotions. He's like, he carries such sadness. Ralph Fiennes carries such sadness in his eyes as this character, and like really sells this this artist who has lost his drive to create art because of catering to the masses, and that's a motivation I've never seen before. Maybe not never, but I've never seen it quite done like this before, where that's his soul. He doesn't have any personal vendettas. He's not some psycho mad scientist character. like trying to create the ultimate show. He's given up, and this is his like, I'm going to go out with a dramatic final statement that says everything I've ever wanted to say about cooking, about art, about life. You like I said earlier, you marvel at its brilliance while also being terrified at what this character is capable of. He's sympathetic because he has that core of an artist, of a working class artist trying to like make a name for themselves and finding that he can never achieve satisfaction because his customers are never satisfied, is basically what he says. And then the way that Anya Taylor-Joy's character escapes with the cheeseburger scene. The cheeseburger scene is insane. Like, I feel like there's so much to digest there that food digest. It's all intentional. And all the menu items are so like, it's the perfect cinematic spectacle. It's not like the best movie I've ever seen, obviously, but it's really, really great. And really stands out. Like, I've never really, I don't really have anything to quite compare it to. I've never quite seen anything like it. And I love that sort of by the end, all the other characters are kind of like in on his like wild vision. Like, I mean, obviously they don't want to die, but they have sort of like succumbed to it. And the fact, and they subvert a lot of like annoying horror tropes. Like, Anya Taylor-Joy has her annoying boyfriend that's there, and then you find out, oh, he actually was a traitor, and he was working with the chef, and he knew they were all going to die, but he was so desperate for the chef's approval that he did this. But then the person he was supposed to bring, he didn't bring, and instead he brought Anya Taylor-Joy's character knowing she was going to die, and so the chef, like, he goes off menu specifically to punish this guy, and it's like, it gives him a lot. He's not like mad scientist, remorseless serial killer. He's a disgruntled artist lashing out in this very like insane and meticulously, he executes the whole thing with the same meticulousness that he would execute his cooking. And when Anya Taylor-Joy's character essentially gives him one last moment of satisfaction in his cooking with the cheeseburger scene, it's so fascinating to see like that interaction and how he lets her go because of that. And then at the end of the movie, he does his final thing and everybody dies, and she's not like upset. She's just eating the cheeseburger. Like, she has also accepted this this like statement that he's made, and she understands it. Even like, she comes to respect the chef. I feel like she respects him more at the end of the movie when she's escaping and he's gonna kill everyone than she does at the beginning, where he's bringing out like tacky dishes and she's like, this guy's full of shit. Like, she comes to respect, and this movie is so good about dolloping out its little like reveals too. Like, at first she's there with her boyfriend and you're just like, okay, normal dating situation. Then you find out, she's like a sex worker, and that's why he brought a sex worker, because the person he was supposed to bring broke up with him, and you can only get in at the table of two, so he was willing to sacrifice this person because he doesn't value her. And like, instead of just having the asshole be the like annoying so that he can die, it's like, even that is a statement on the class issue that the movie is actually. It's talking about the intersection of art and class and like the extravagance and the danger of spectacle. It is similar to Nope, which came out earlier this year. If you want to hear my thoughts on that, you can watch Fearcast episode 27. I'll add a card. We talked about the Jordan Peele movies, but Nope has a very similar understanding of like where it's critiquing spectacle and also indulging in spectacle at the same time in a very interesting and cool way. And this movie also does that perfectly. It offers all these points on the things I mentioned while also providing a really, really like fun and suspenseful thriller movie. I want to watch it again. I will probably watch it again at some point. Maybe not in theaters. We'll see. But it is a still. I watched it a week ago, and it's still a lock. My second favorite movie of the year. Number one being Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's another movie I also reviewed. That movie was incredible. This movie is also incredible. 2022 is the year that I start watching movies that aren't Marvel movies. But I'll review Black Panther eventually. I hope you enjoyed that meal, and I hope you enjoyed this meal too. This food analogy is painful. Go watch The Menu. Arrivederci!